Audio. Okay, here we go. Hello, anybody who's already here. We already got Josh. He showed up before I even started. Everything's muted correctly. Live synced. Okay, now this is all up. Let's go over to. That's all Twitch. Let's go over to Twitter because its name is not X. No matter how desperately Mister does stock market openings while tripping his mind out, wants it to be. So is everybody ready for what might end up being the biggest pump and dump in human history? It might in the future get surpassed by something else, but it's probably going to be pretty hard to beat this one, at least for a while, and might still remain unbeatable when you factor in inflation in the future, actually. See if we get anybody. All right. We're showing up fast. Set the text display to 48 to make it legible for everybody here. Since I have so many untitled documents that I don't remember which one's which, here, stream, delete after. Okay, that will remind myself then. Bookmarks, map. Oh, darn, I forgot. I was gonna check the person's name before I actually started the stream, but I'd have to go into my email to double check it again, and you guys would end up seeing stuff. Like, you guys would potentially, since they do that, the stupid AI summary pops up on like emails now, uh, showing like actual contents, including actual personal, like, identity security stuff, which the old little summary lines that email websites used to have on like each email as you're like scrolling down a list, you know, were pretty easy to program to never show that stuff. The AI, if it even has those rules programmed into it, it just ignores them and will just straight up like show you security codes and crap. But somebody named, think I think it was Jacob something, but somebody gave me over $200 on PayPal. So praise and glory to God, and thank you, whoever that was, Jacob something. This is the random stream map we sometimes look at for fake fun. Since I figured I usually throwback memories quote all the time back when I lived up home in Alaska. My living expenses were only about 8K a year. I made between 11 and 13K a year. That's why I was able to like go to Baltimore with Josh every year and stuff. So I figured there's a bit over 8 billion people in the world at the moment. So have each million people equate to like $1. And so whether via ad revenue, PayPal stuff, Patreon, uh, YouTube super chat things or whatever, every dollar I get throughout the year counts for a million people, and we can slowly see if we can absorb the entire world into the Maxogear governed dictatorship here. Serves partially as a decent visual representation of how much my income level's been restored, but is kind of skewed because remember, uh, basically 3 billion of those 8 billion people are just China, India, and Bangladesh. So it's not the best, but thanks to Jacob, we absorbed all of Northern Africa. We got Turkey, we got Israel, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria. We got all the Caucasus nations, and we got Greece and Bulgaria, who we didn't have yet, and threw in Dagestan and basically all of the little Caucasus microstates in South Russia. So we're doing pretty good on a land mass level, definitely on a absorbed GDP level. But anyways, that should have given people a bit more time to show up. So let's check. If you mean the search one, I do not. I have never found a way to turn that off. For searching for stuff, I do not use the actual Google search because that triggers it to use the AI, which triggers for every search you use now the amount instead of like the amount of energy used by what it used to be, which would be a computer processor running for like a few seconds. Now it uses, I don't know how many individual units, but the energy amount used by the AI is uh, like 40 plus times usually at minimum. And it gives you not even better results. Like there was this weird window back in 2025 where it worked decently and it actually gave you like helpful information. But then they decided that was like too useful. And so they turned it over into just basically another chatbot that tries so desperately to talk like a human to you, and also just provides you with a bunch of sponsored results. Everybody's everybody's favorite thing to see, aka all the results you're being given at the top now by the AI are results leading to the web pages of any particular websites or companies that have paid Google some top dollars to be the ones that it throws in your face. But for going to things, I just go through my actual URL bar here. Like some of my most common stuff will show up, or and you can just click directly. Or if I want to go to Wikipedia, you can do search with Wikipedia to circumvent Google. But yeah, you can if you type in things for things that you go to frequently, uh, it should it should just pop up like uh, or also I have the I have like a bunch of stuff bookmarked, but if you didn't, for example, say like Flight Radar 24, I go to that frequently enough, even if I didn't have it bookmarked, I could just type in Flight Radar and yeah, it would automatically go to that. And so you can just go to stuff directly. So as much as I can, I avoid using the AI. Or if I want to search for images, I have a few saved things, like uh, Kazakhstan. I should. Oh, I forgot how to tell which one is the images and which one is the regular search. But I had one of the. I have a few things saved so that I can go directly to a previous images result, and then I can just look from images through the images section of Google search because that one doesn't trigger the AI unless you click the option to use it, which the option to use it or not use it should be on the regular search, but they have to have it be forced use because every uh, every search therefore counts as or counts as an actual use, which thus lets them pump the numbers, which makes it look like everybody wants to use it. So everybody invests in it and their stock portfolio balloons, just like what we got going on here. with the SpaceX thing. So they did their public opening today, and they're way overvalued. They're being valued at 2.1 trillion. They technically lose money, but just like companies like OpenAI, for example, who's in the hole for like 300 billion or whatever, they are being valued at 2.11 trillion. Everyone went pouring in, and then the few select billionaires, some of Elon Musk's personal sociopath buddies like Peter Thiel and the others, once it went up enough for the initial jump, they started pulling their money at the end of the day so they could, get a few dozen extra billion. And for those who may not be aware, the uh, the U.S. system, the U.S. like stock regulatory system, changed the rules so that normally, since let's get Epic Pen back on. There we go. Uh, yeah, exactly. That's what I was talking about earlier. So normally we'll use Saudi Arabia since they like spending their money on trash, so we'll use them to demonstrate trash. So you see this all the time with a lot of IPOs. And at the dawn of like the internet age, for example, there was the whole .com bubble was a thing. And so you'll typically see things like big, huge lunges, and then it kind of cleans on, then it looks like it has a recovery and it kind of cleans on, and then you have a crash down to what ends up being its actual value. So normally the US stock trading system says that retirement funds like 401ks and stuff are not allowed to invest your retirement money in companies that have just opened because there's a huge risk of this happening, and your value could get inflated. And then when actual like money bag people decide to pull their money to do the rug pull to profit off of the pump and dump, then your thing collapses. And in some cases, depending on what kind of retirement fund you have, you apparently can get forced to actually pay money. So you're not supposed to do that. But the stock market regulatory committee rewrote the rules to say that investing in things right after an IPO is actually a-okay. Draw a big smiley. Yeah, it's actually perfectly okay to do that. So plenty of people with the ability to think have been sounding the alarm that like this is just a giant pump and dump wealth transfer that's going to collapse like millions of citizens' retirement accounts, and nobody cares. And most of the citizenry is in denial about such a thing because they're just in the there's no way anyone would let that happen state. And also there's still like a mixture of Trump cultists and Elon cultists who will just suck the dick of either one of those two people no matter what, even if it was literally dipped in liquid diarrhea. And they were told that doing it would like slowly kill their own children from cancer. But so they changed the rules, and not just for SpaceX, but also also for the upcoming IPOs of companies like OpenAI, who is valued in the hundreds of billions, even though again it is in hundreds of billions of debt. So also this obviously made I don't know where is that punchable face. Oh, there. And there's a punchable version of that punchable face. So here is 12-year-old autistic man-child Elon Musk. What's I can't really even think of like the proper like words. Uh, I don't know, like neglected, attention starved daddy, notice me, please, Elon Musk. And that's not even a joke. Like it, it's now pretty public because his dad constantly actually comments publicly, both in interviews and on social media, about how he despises his kid. So the whole "please, daddy, be proud of me" thing is actually legitimate. Um, so he's now a trillionaire, and trillions. You're getting into the type of money that is spent by like the governments of the U.S. and China. So, will any percentage of this money be spent on like uh I don't know, given to annihilating preventable diseases, uh providing really basic, cheap to provide food, to prevent the famine that's now happening because of the Persian Gulf fertilizer cutoff. You know, a few tens of millions in US aid a year was keeping dozens of millions of people from starving to death. Is any going to be spent on these things? Absolutely not. He hasn't really spent any on anything before. I think he has his own uh, thing now, like every billionaire does, like the Gates Foundation and stuff, where they have their own foundations. Here, hold on. Have to make sure it's decent enough. They have their own charity foundations that they will pour money into, they'll donate to every year, but they are like the heads of the organization and can extract and use the money as they deem fit because they have the sole say over it. And so they donate the money each year. They use that to write it off their taxes so they don't pay anything, despite the fact that if some of them actually paid taxes, uh, would really quickly bring the US to a not out of deficit, but to a point of being in much less of it. And then quietly at the start of next year, they, you know, remove the money. Never all of it if they're smart. Like Bill Gates leaves a few billion in there to make it look like he's not just putting it in and taking it out every single time. And he did a few like high publicity pet projects to try to keep everybody off his back a few times. Like he really specifically uh, pumped money into giving out vaccines in specifically Indonesia. But then after that, he's just been doing the foundation thing like every other billionaire does. So, what Elon's going to do with all this money is continue to not help anyone and spend all of it on cringy meme diarrhea stuff. Like he's probably eventually gonna like pay billions to launch a mission to Mars that's gonna land like a giant pure gold plaque with like diamonds embedded on it to spell out like uh 4206967 LOL LMAO or something. And the stupid like Doge coin meme face on it too. So those are things that are happening. The pump and dump state of the current modern economy is very real. All that remains is the pump and the dump. This is now we're setting up SpaceX to be Uh, Probably not over 2 trillion. It probably won't get pulled down below 100 billion, but probably fair chance it'll lose over 1 trillion of that value at least. So this is going to be the world's first $1 trillion+ rug pull. We've entered a fascinating state of humanity, which is why that's why I used that picture. Not just that, but like all the other things happening. That's why I used that picture of the partially confused looking Iranian negotiator team, because it looks like these guys, are like all looking at something and they're like, huh, what? And then the oldest dude is like pointing at it and looking at someone off screen, and he's like, is this crap real? This is anyone with like a reasonable functioning brain, like looking at humanity at the current moment and asking the age old question of, can humanity survive itself? Let's see, what else do we have going on? Oh yeah, uh, we have we have Trump's bipolar disorder continuing back and forth. So over, and now we have to get Epic Pen going again. We go. I'll check you guys in a second. So on Wednesday, we started bombing Iran again. Trump made a big bad daddy speech about, we're going to hit them really hard. We're going to wipe them out. There's going to be nothing left. He bombed them for a few hours, made a random tweet saying that they asked him to stop nicely. And so he stopped. And then the next day, yesterday, he said that an agreement has been reached and it's going to be signed this weekend. And Iran responded saying that what he said was true, but then after they said it, he cried fake news and blah blah blah. They switched back over. He threatened to bomb them again today, but then all of a sudden, just a few hours ago, right before the markets would have closed, he then switched back over to, the deal is real. It has been made, and it will be signed. It will be signed in a non-specific place at an unspecified time in the future. I'm just going to keep going with this here. Whatever that's supposed to mean. And so, seeing this, seeing that the state of things is still the exact same, the market, in its great intelligence, decided oil should fall back down by $20, down closer to $80 a barrel, even though the situation has not changed. Nothing has been restored. And even if it is restored, it will take, at minimum, 2 to 3 months for an actual restoration. But even then, you're going to be at an elevated demand level because everyone's going to be over purchasing to try to refill their strategic inventories. But here you have market brilliance, which again is probably, uh, some portion of it has to be people, brokerages just have AI bots doing their trading for them, which is actually illegal, but they don't have to obey the law. And they have their bots like programmed to like follow the White House Twitter account, so that any of Trump's random tweets in either direction basically dictates when they buy and sell things, not the actual supply scenario. So again, just like with silver, you guys remember for quite a while, for years, since way back to 2015, we hit peak silver extraction from mines worldwide, and we're down about 12 or 13% from the peak. Silver demand has kept going up all that time. And so the deficit grew and grew and grew, yet, and supply was, doing this, and then stopped for a little bit, went back up, and it's going back down again now. And all that time, the price should have been going up as well, but no, it jumped a little bit, but then it stayed like this. And when you do that, instead of going up linearly, eventually you just hit a wall. And so that's what we've done now. Went up to triple digits and have fallen back down to usually between $70 and $80 per ounce. So oil is setting itself up to do the same thing. If we're not doing this, then we're going to end up doing this. But that's how the game is now played, apparently. Okay, let's see. Ooh, 2 Australian bucks. I have no idea how much that actually translates to. Probably more now, since the US dollar has devalued quite a bit under Trump's fascinating economic governments. I'm going to count that as $2 anyways. Wait, no, there's an exchange thing here I can look at, I think. Index, stocks, Forex. Okay. Uh, oh, no. Never mind. Uh, Aussies, you're still down at 70 cents. Okay, so that's $1.24. That translates to 1.4 million people. All right, let's see what we can do with that. We got all the Americas. Um, Qatar is 3 million. Tigray is 3 million. It was 6 million before the genocide. Now it's 3 million, or it's recovering a little bit, so it's probably back up like 3.2. Uh, Anywhere down here, I kind of want to keep going out from where we're at. If I click on any random Russian oblast around here, outside of St. Petersburg and Moscow, that would probably be around like 1.4 million. Let's see. Hold on. Wikipedia. Uh, Novgorod. Oh, it's a republic? Or is that the historical state? Okay, no. The modern Novgorod Oblast. There we go. What you got in Novgorod? Oh, only 500,000. Okay. Is that already there? Okay, so we can add that. Let's see. Pskov to the southwest. How many are in Pskov? Pskov. About 600,000. Okay. We'll get Pskov then. Who was over to the east of you? Vologda over in the east. How many are there? Oh, that would have been the one to pick. Okay. Oh, no, wait. Did I think I confused which one was which, or did I? Okay, this one's a little more adjusted to like actual size, so I think I might have messed up which one is which. I'll just keep those two for now, and I'll call that it for the moment. Here, let's erase some of the blue lines. I'll erase some of the ones in Italy later too. All right, there we go. We'll slowly get Russia added to the Maxogerium as well. Oh, actually, speaking of Russia, then we got more strikes all over the place, and Epic Pen has failed again. uh, oh, Jacob Leach. I think that's the $200+ guy. That's the guy I was talking about. I'm pretty sure. If it wasn't you, I have no way of immediately doing that without going in for a without going in into my emails, which might reveal personal information that I don't want to. I couldn't prove or disprove it's you, but I forgot to check to make sure beforehand. So if it isn't you, technically you could claim it was you, and I have no way of disproving it until after stream. But I think it was you. So thank you. Uh, the oh yeah, the AI trading thing. It's because in the past the once this kind of repertory pattern and Epic Pen is not working. In the past, stupid decisions would be made, but after a pattern started clearly repeating over and over again, actual traders would start to correct themselves. Whereas this whole oil price thing with Trump's tweets has actually just been following it like an algorithm every single time, which is kind of indicative no one's pulling a correction here, which even dumber traders in the past at least eventually did. So that's kind of leaning more towards I think this is an algorithm running people's trades for them. But again, that then also still falls on the people because if it is, then the people are clearly being too stupid to change the algorithm or to stop anything. Uh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the strikes in Russia. So got some stuff up in no, that's not Tatarstan. Kazan is the capital of Tatarstan, I think. It might be the capital of Bashkiri. But so all the way over here, we got another oil refinery down, and you can see on the map, getting some good distance there. Okay, I was right. Kazan is the capital of Tatarstan. So refinery getting lit up in Tatarstan, petrochemical plants in this is only listing the city, so I don't know what oblast that city is in, but more strikes all around the place. Another refinery striking power plants on Crimea, along with the not the big Crimean bridge, but the smaller bridges here connecting it to the Ukrainian mainland across these like uh, sort of sort of like really shallow micro lake, partially connected to the sea water bodies. There are several of those, and they've started getting slow whittle strike. Where's that stuff from earlier? Is it more further up? There we go. So starting to accumulate holes over the past few days. These are not these are not even like HIMARS rocket strikes. These are from the little like the regular rotor drones with a grenade duct taped to the bottom of them. They've gotten to the point where these things can be flown like up to 50 miles. So this is going to be a thing in the future, not just in Ukraine, but in general. So They're being flown most likely from over here, and they're hitting the various bridges there. They're starting to put holes in them. It's going to take a week or two to accumulate the holes, like the peppering with some of the bridges earlier, that eventually makes them unusable, which then leaves everything to the one bridge and or the ferries, and then those start getting hit, and then you run into full isolation issues. But because so much stuff has been getting brought over land, usually the land route now being within range even of the quad rotor drones, fuel delivery specifically, especially gasoline to Crimea, has gotten heavily choked to the point which, like we talked about last stream, it's been restricted to 4 gallons per license plate per week. Now, eventually, probably some people in some garages are probably going to start like making a bunch of fake license plates and like selling those like black market style for people to constantly swap out the plates on their car, which will then further exacerbate the fuel issue. More states, more oblasts announced various, with the latest one being Kruvashia as of a little bit ago. But map grew pretty quickly since last week. So more oblasts started like publicly announcing restrictions, like you can only buy this much, or stations you can only sell this much, while also while also publicly putting out notices saying that there is no shortage, and that the shortage is like enemy propaganda or something. Was there anything else here? Oh yeah. Sorry, back to AI for a second. So uh, the various like investor reports or investigations, or that are given to investors to like try to convince them or show them that a certain technology or new strategy is profitable. For AI, it's the ones they've been given to investors have now been found out that the reports were composed by AI, and the AI, instead of like actual market analysis reports uh, by at the actual market teams, the AI was citing itself in the report, and the statements and citations it made were for numbers and evaluations that didn't even exist because they were hallucinogenic. So it's going into a full Ouroboros initial collapse mode. Hopefully to be a bigger one, but we have to start small. So the banks are starting. The banks are starting to refuse to give loans to the AI companies one by one, and to people who are trying to like leverage against their collateral on the AI companies, because I guess the banks are one of the few ones left who aren't zero IQ and can kind of see an infinite black hole for what it is. So I guess for the moment we can kind of still count on them, even though they're also evil. But that's beside the point. And they've been evil since their inception, 5,000 years ago. Let me drink some water and some more. All right, I can keep going for a little bit longer. It's been a week since the fall, so it's not as bad anymore. It was after the first 2 days, the actual regular pain was gone, but for most of the week since then, it's more been like I can feel my tailbone existing. It's not like pain, it's just like I can feel its existence. Whereas under normal circumstances, you don't feel a random bone or organ existing. So it's just kind of creepy and annoying at this point, but it'll take another week or two for that feeling to go away. But the last two streams, like I said, it was hurt when I sit down. It no longer hurts to sit, but it does feel, again, not painful, but does feel more uncomfortable than just the general regular discomfort. But for anyone who doesn't, for anyone who's wondering what I'm talking about a week ago, after doing a bunch of yard work outside for my parents, as stated earlier in the stream and in a million other streams, I used to live in Alaska. It was a eternal Arctic darkness paradise with like free public transportation and heating and water and healthcare, almost free healthcare. Uh, but then 2020 happened, and I was not one of the people who got to recover from 2020 happening. So I was forced down into the zone of exile around the Charleston, South Carolina area, where I currently live at my parents' place, and I do all the yard work for them as part of the unspoken deal. And after doing a whole bunch of strenuous yard work, including like big heavy tree limbs and stuff, actually, I came back into the house, and a few hours later, I just regular, I'll draw an arrow here. I just took a wrong step when I was just walking in general in the house, just a wrong step. And so I tripped and turned, spun while falling, and uh, I ended up falling right on my tailbone against a hard surface. It's not broken. It was just bruised, which is technically still broken. It just means the fractures are micro fractures instead of macro fractures. But it was of all things, it ended up me just like not really paying attention to where I was placing my feet when just walking down the hallway, as opposed to when I was doing a bunch of like stuff outside that you would expect to potentially injure yourself in. Uh, let's see. Checking. Oh yeah, there were some more aliens. The government the government released some more aliens files, trying desperately to get attention off of all of the the resurging inflation and the insider trading and the AI death cult and everything else that half of which is being done on purpose. They're still trying. They're still trying with the look, look over there. Aliens, aliens. For real this time, guys. It's aliens. I promise it's aliens. And they showed they've one of the big ones that they showed that they've bribed so many senators and military brass, admirals, generals, former pilots. One of the best showcases they put out was a video where they even said it was off the coast of Yemen in the Red Sea during the conflict with the Houthis. And so they show a blob of pixels that is very obviously a Houthi drone, a suicide drone, or potentially a cruise missile, but based on the somewhat wider profile, it was probably a drone going low over the water. And they show a small drone launched missile come in and like ping off of it and said, look, look at this amazing alien technology. It disabled our weapons and they didn't even affect it. And it keeps going with its anti-gravity tech. So what happened for anyone who doesn't have an IQ above 2, it was a Houthi drone. And this missile launched from a US drone, aka the missile is really small. It only weighs a few pounds, and the drone that it was targeting weighs between 100 and 200. So the missile came in, and this was the one out of every like 200 missiles that's defective. It failed to detonate. So it hit the drone and bounced off. The drone visibly wobbled and like had issues in its flight for like a good 5 seconds afterwards, but eventually stabled out and kept going. And you could see the shape and profile change when it was wobbling. Like you could see the triangular Shahed drone delta wing. And I was watching this because my parents, for some reason, are into those alien exposure shows. And I was watching them watch that last night. And I'm like, come on, please. This can't be the best that they're putting out there. But the government is also really desperately saying, please, just in the opposite direction that I'm doing. They're saying, please, please believe the footage. Please freak out about the aliens rather than all of the actual stuff that we're doing to destroy your life and the lives of everyone else on the planet. Oh, look, even he's desperate. He's not a government guy. That's some AI bro. But I'm sure he'd rather have you freak out about the aliens too. Let's see. Oh man, you guys suddenly became active. Uh, I do not know that term. So, pump and dump and rug pull are they're the only terms I'm familiar with. Yeah, you might initially think they would be counteracted, but that would imply that smart people made the algorithm. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but dumb smart people are actually a thing. I mean, there are actually like there are actual like brilliant scientists who, for a while at least, most of them have distanced themselves now, but there were brilliant scientists for a while who did used to be part of Elon Musk's cult. Let's see. Uh, yeah, but then that would imply that that would imply that that their expectation for a Fed decision is also therefore being guided by Trump's tweets, which would still be just as dumb. Uh, oh, this guy, an AI CEO. Okay, so what you mean is he's a demon. You, uh, I haven't heard anyone talk about ball lightning in a while. I'm assuming if you're saying that, I'm assuming you were watching videos where it was like literally just a really crappy low res video of like some some point of light in the distance, and everyone's I can't draw the Wojak dudes. This is the best I can get. So that there's the dude with his arm pointing, when they're making the face. There's another dude with his arm, and there's his head. Oh crap, he looks like he's wearing a hood. Or no, he's a cone head. He's one of the aliens. But yeah, so many of the videos also are just a point of light in the distance with zero context, just a screen of blackness around it. And the government's handing down being like, look, aliens. And millions of people on Twitter especially are also being like, look, look, aliens. I promise it's for real this time. They're I think they might be riding too high off of the failed Area 51 storming. It's either at this lake bed or this one. Uh, back when there supposedly a million people were gonna. I can barely draw. Again, Anya does the drawings for Dream War. This is my best attempt at a Naruto run. Here's the ribbons from the ninja headband. Uh, where they said they were going to get a million Naruto runners to storm into Area 51 back in 2019. It only ended up being a few hundred people, but they did march up to the gate shouting, like, clap those alien cheeks or something. So I don't know, maybe they're running on false assumptions, since that became such a big thing that people are still gonna like super overreact to alien stuff that they think they can get away with it, or they think it will work as like a thing to throw to distract everybody. But the thing is, this is this is actually kind of a statement on the state of things, and why they want people to stay distracted so bad. It has actually gotten to a state of things where even if it was legitimately convincing, no one really cares. This lack of reaction, I posit to you, would be pretty similar even if it was genuine. Unless aliens themselves actually showed up physically, like in every iteration of themselves ever, and did something disruptive. Even if it was, but talking about the government releasing files, even if they released convincing, genuine evidence, the the so what reaction would be pretty similar. Partially also because it's so blatantly obvious that it's just being thrown out as an attempt to like at least distract some portion of public opinion. Let's see, what else did I have written down on the sheet here? Doesn't look like I have anything else. Wait, hold on. What's that? Nope, never mind. Okay. However, good news continues to accumulate in some places. like the banks starting to refuse AI loans and AI investor loans, and countries are beginning to add themselves to the list, to the dismay of teenagers and 12-year-olds. But you got the Aussies, and now Malaysia, my favorite Asian country for no specific reason. My favorite countries regionally and globally are completely arbitrary. But Malaysia does make the best headphones. Those headphones I showed you guys last time, that I told you as part of my how does Maxogear spend so little money. Those $20 headphones that I told you are now 7 years old that I'm still using, that when they physically fell apart, I just put not a bunch of, not a ring of Gorilla Glue, just a triangle, Illuminati confirmed, UFO confirmed, a triangle, three little dots of Gorilla Glue, and I glued the earpiece, it was the right earpiece, back together. So, and they only got like that because I wear them when I'm doing, my 2 hours of walking around picking up garbage outside, and occasionally they fall off onto the concrete. They've fallen off onto the concrete hundreds of times over those 7 years. Uh, that picture where they were broken, that was when they were 5.5 or 6 years old. So it took that many times for them to get that bad. But also, headphones in the past that I've used have also just gradually stopped working after like 4 years. These ones still work after seven, and physically, I just put the right headphone back together. So Malaysia makes uh, functionally indestructible headphones, as in they have not stopped working, and even though they've been dropped on concrete hundreds of times, they can be snapped back together with like a dot or two of Gorilla Glue, and they will still completely just keep working. And they only cost $20. So that's also part of the secret reason how Maxogear spends so little money, both down here because I don't have that much, and back up home in Alaska when I still had a decent income, is because for the most part I don't buy new things, and also the things I do use tend to be really cheap. Again, even when I quote unquote had money, and that phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting, I still never really got expensive products because I never was convinced on the difference. Like in early college, back in the early 2010s, and in late high school, which was also the early 2010s, everyone was constantly trying to convince me to buy, what was it, Beats by Dre, which are headphones that at the time would cost $300. And like there was more clarity to them, I guess, because I tried them on at the store once, but there was nowhere near enough difference to convince me that they were somehow worth paying for. The same with how like I don't know what are the sneakers or shoes that everyone pays like $400 for, Air Jordans or something, I think, or they're just called Jordans now. I'm still just getting the slanted N, New Balance, formerly made in Vietnam. They got moved to Indonesia, but Indonesia's been making them pretty good. They don't last as long as the Vietnamese ones did, though. The Vietnamese ones would last 4 or 5 years. The Indonesian made ones last like three and a half. But New Balance, Indonesia, and they're like 60 usually. Uh, I mean, they're gonna jump up eventually, like with all others, and there might even be some shortages since, they're made mostly from petrochemicals, and now there's the whole issue because of our uh, greatest strategic cock up in the history of the United States, uh, well and beyond Vietnam. the time frame of how in Afghanistan, yes, as well. Uh, like you might instinctively not want to call Iran and the Strait of Hormuz uh, as bad because of like uh, there's barely been any casualties and it hasn't lasted anywhere near as long. But the actual scale of effect on us and globally is well and beyond anything we have ever done. Like Vietnam, for the most part, it was like it affected the U.S. in the form of, uh, you know, 10 or 12,000 U.S. soldiers dying every year. But outside of that, like it did not cause a massive inflation surge. It didn't cause gasoline shortages. Some of those happened at the same time, but those happened because of the 1967 and 1973 wars uh, with Israel and the Arab nations. Vietnam's effect, though it lasted 10 years, its effect was just dead people in Vietnam, which is bad. But in terms of like causing cascading global economic cataclysm, it did nothing. This, in terms of human death toll from combat, nowhere near as bad. From actual effect, is going to end up much worse. Okay, let's see. Blurry orange orbs. I mean, yeah, they're kind of going to because the workers in the U.S. are gonna get paid more, even though I'm pretty sure it is almost all mechanical. It is a machine that makes shoes now. Clothing is still sewn. That's still made by hand by seamstresses. Like the closest thing for making clothing that they could get was some wacky California dude who came up with this weird thing where there was like a cylinder, and then there was like this set of robot spider arms, and then there were these different like divider plates that would like separate different segments, and then these other robotic crab arms would come up here, and it was this whole convoluted crappy nonsense uh, to make like one shirt. Whereas uh, if they're made in locations of my preference, some super some super diligent either young 20 something, there's for some reason no in between, either young 20 something or like 60-year-old Vietnamese grandma or Cambodian grandma is can just like crank them out at a sewing machine at lightning speed while also somehow avoiding the quantity depletes quality thing. Again, if you get them from specific places, if you because if you just grab stuff off the shelf, you're gonna get it from all over. You're gonna get stuff from Guatemala, which is not great. You're gonna get stuff from Haiti, which tends to be not too great. You're gonna get stuff from Bangladesh, which ends up being not great, and also is using actual slave labor that gets locked inside of a building and is never allowed to leave again. And so frequently the buildings burn down and the people burn alive inside them. The best quality items have been Vietnam and Cambodia and Pakistan. Like some of my pajamas are from before I went to college. So I got them in like senior year of high school. Some of my pajamas are 15 years old and they have not worn out. They've not like ripped apart yet. and they were made in Pakistan. So I don't. I have no idea what you guys are doing so differently over there that makes the clothes that you make indestructible, no matter like what's done to them. But apparently that's like secret Pakistani magic or something. All right, I think that's it. I've been over an hour this time, actually. So yeah, unless anything else comes up, then I'm going to stop here soon. So I'll start closing everything out. Shut you down. All right, I'll wait. I don't know, like 20 seconds should be long enough for the delay. Chug water. All right, that's gonna be it then. If there's nothing else. So I should have the I'm gonna roll the I'm gonna roll the non-OPEC and OPEC countries this month into one oil production video. That should be up either tomorrow or Sunday. And then oil demand, electricity demand, etc. And then I apology or sorry, I apologize. I apologize for uh for super chats it's I think 70-30. I get 70%, Google gets 30%. The ad revenue is much worse. The ad revenue is I think actually completely inverted. It's like 30-70. Uh, but or 30, okay, I guess Google takes 35% of the super chats. I thought it was 70-30. The ad revenue is inverted. It's 30-70. Uh, but like yeah, the most efficient like direct thing is just PayPal. 'Cause PayPal takes 2%. For people for trans oh it is 30. PayPal takes I think 2% from off of transfers if you're sending money to someone in a different country. For anyone who's also in the US, if they use my PayPal link or anybody else's PayPal link, there should not be any fee for anyone in the US. Or, for example, you're I think Australian, so if you sent it, yeah, wait, you are Australian. If you sent money to someone else in Australia, for you and for them, there would also be no fee. Between countries, there's a fee, but it's only like 2%. What was I? I was apologizing for something. Oh yeah, the statistical review of world energy. Excuse me. Can you do? Whoa! What are we doing? Downloads down here. Uh, S statistical review of world energy. So this thing, it used to be the BP review of world energy. Now it's just the statistical review under the Energy Institute. This year's update with all the extra super special data uh, is not coming out at the usual time. It's been postponed 2 weeks. So instead of the 20th or a week from now, it's not being released until the last day of the month. So I won't be able to do that stream and those videos until July. So I apologize for that. That's not something I have any control over. Uh, if you're making a new account, it does. I think at least. It doesn't. It's not like a on login thing. Uh, or at least on my end. On my end, I haven't been hit with anything by any website, but most of my accounts were made between 2008 and 2011. So I think they set it so that like any account that's older than like 10 years or something is just automatically assumed to be an adult because they figure like a 7-year old or a 4-year old probably wouldn't have actually cared to or would have made a PayPal account. But anyways, that's good. Excuse me. Do things when I click on them, please. That's going to be it. I will see you.